My name is Emily Dolan Davies. I am a touring and recording drummer. I've played with people like The Darkness, Bryan Ferry, Tricky, the Thompson Twins, Cher Lloyd, basically anyone that will have me. And in the last year, I've also set up my own recording studio, and I've been doing remote recording sessions for people across the world, which has been incredible. Today I'm here with a bunch of Shure PG ALTA microphones, and I just wanted to run you through what I use, how I set them up, and how awesome they are, basically. On the snare drum, I'm using the PGA 57, and this is a great mic. I mean, the 57 by Shure is a classic mic, especially for snare drums anyway, so it's great that they've included this in the kit because, I mean, how could it not be? You know, it's just brilliant. For the placement on the snare drum, I generally go for it hitting the centre of the snare drum. Also on the snare drum, I have got one of these 98Ds, which are excellent for miking the bottom of the snare drum. Really easy to just clip on, and I've got it just slightly to the left of the snare bed, so you get a really nice crack, and the mixture between the top head and the bottom head is really, really great. Sometimes you have to flip the phase on the bottom, which is completely normal, but it just gives a really nice overall sound and mix. Now generally I'm quite a greedy drummer, so I actually like to have 3 microphones on my snare drum, and both the 98D and the 57 are brilliant on the side of the snare drum, and I usually mic the hole on the snare drum, so that's where all the air's coming out when you hit the drum, because obviously if it couldn't escape, the drum would probably explode or something like that. So I'll put one on the bottom, one on the hole of the snare drum, and one on the top, and that mixture between the 3 of them, I've never had a bad snare drum sound, unless it's the actual drum, then it's all down to me, it's not down to the microphone at all. But you know, I've always had a brilliant sound from those 3 mics mixing, and I'll send it off, and I've never had anyone complain ever about that. As for these, the 98Ds, which are also on the toms, they're brilliant. First of all, the most simple thing, a gooseneck on the actual microphone, which means that you're not restricted to being really, really close to the drum, which a lot of clip-on mics have that problem. And I've had a lot of problems with it in the past, to the point where you can only mic sort of the very edge of the drum. And I mean, that's not where the best sound is, because if it was, then people would be playing on it, you know what I mean? But with this, you can get a lot of height. If you want a lot of air between the drum and the actual signal, the microphone, then you can do that, or you can do it really, really close, which I like. And again, just placement wise, generally try and make it hit the middle of the drum. One thing that I love about these microphones as well, because I'm a drummer and I'm a bit slow, and I'm not saying it's because I'm a drummer, but I'm definitely a bit slow, is that they have an arrow on them which tells you which way to actually face a microphone. Because I find, for me personally, whenever I find microphones with grills on either side, I get completely confused as to which way should be facing the actual source of the sound. So for me, that's good, it's foolproof, and I'm a fool, so it's awesome. So now I'll go to the overheads. They're the PGA 181s, which I have in an XY configuration, which is a great way of getting a really wide sound, and I think it's really important for drums. And I just love it. The other reason I really like this configuration is that you don't get any phasing issues, which I have had in the past with different microphones, and you end up getting out with a tape measure and all sorts of malarkey, just trying to make sure that everything hits at the same time, and it's a headache. And I feel like, you know, it's music, it's not meant to be a big headache, and especially for what I'm doing, you know, people want drum tracks quickly. They don't want to have to wait because I'm sat there with a bit of string, you know, trying to work out if that microphone is 2 millimeters further away than that one, and, you know, trying to work out the angles. This is just a perfect way of doing it. No phasing, great wide sound, and the other thing that I really love about these mics is that they're so much more versatile. So you can have them like this, or if you want to do the whole measuring thing, because I know a lot of people do like to do that, which is fine, but you know, I like to do other things like cook. So yeah, if you just put them, you can put them either straight down, or you can put them in a Glyn Johns kind of configuration, which I'll be doing later. They're really great as room mics, which is what I've been using them for recently as well. You can stick one in the corner of the room just to get an idea of the space of the room. Another thing that I know a lot of producers like to do is take one of those room mics and then just like put tons of compression or effects on it, and just sort of like to make the drums slightly more exciting or different. So they're perfect for that because they're very clean, they're great. Another room mic technique that I really like, which is, I think I've seen a couple of drummers do it. I think Butch Vig has done it before. I think that's where I got the idea. I actually put a microphone behind me, just above my head. As I play, I'm tuning and I'm playing to what my ears hear. And to me, that's going to sound great, because if it doesn't, then there's a serious problem. But then I thought, okay, well, why not put a microphone right next to my head, and then they can get that kind of spectrum as well. And I did that, and a lot of people really like that idea too. So the kick drum, we have a PGA 52, and for years and years and years, as long as I can remember, I've used a Beta 52A. Now, they're great mics, definitely. Never had a problem with it, just like, yep, this is great, this works, awesome. Then I tried this, and I was like, oh, that's what it's meant to sound like. Okay, so they're just brilliant. They're round, very warm. You get a nice amount of attack. It's a really great all-round mic. So if you're only able to use one microphone, that is the microphone to use. It's the best sounding kick drum mic, and you don't have to worry about having 3 mics, you know, to mix in together. You can do that still too, because that sounds great as well. But to know that you can have one kick drum mic and that it's going to sound brilliant is just, I mean, that's foolproof. It's perfect. So yeah, all in all, amazing set of mics, and very versatile, and I love them.